But we're not patients, you say, and we'd like to see what's going on. Yes, of course, says Trevor understandingly as she stands up and walks to a large flat-screen television on the wall. She grabs a remote control and says, I want to caution both of you that this might be very upsetting. Are you sure you want to see it? You and Matthew nod. Trevor turns on the television and dims the lights as Matthew moves around the table and sits next to you. A moment later, a newscast flickers onto the screen. The images are horrific. Some of the clips have been filmed on personal handheld cameras. Some are filmed by the news or from high above in a helicopter. What you see is inconceivable. Mass hysteria is sweeping through San Francisco. No one can leave the city. Cars crash into each other. The Golden Gate and other major bridges in the Bay Area dangle lifelessly above the water they're meant to traverse. Traffic is wedged together in city streets. Highways are totally blocked with people desperate to leave as buildings explode into flames in the background. There are clips of massive earthquakes tearing apart the San Andreas fault line, collapsing everything in its wake. Fighting back tears, you close your eyes, unable to take in any more of what is on the screen. A deep aching in your throat and chest threaten to overwhelm you at any moment. Are our families still okay? You say, feeling a bit selfish to even ask under the circumstances, but you need to know. Sympathetically, Trevor says, This is all happening in California. As long as there's not an eruption here in the desert, your family should be fine. You sigh in relief as Matthew moves closer and wraps his arm around you. You bury your face in his chest and cry, barely able to breathe, as the weight of all that you have seen clutches at your throat like a noose around your neck. Why don't you two spend the day doing whatever you want? I know this is a lot to take in. Rest up and get a good night's sleep. I'll meet you at the nurse's station in the morning. Matthew nods silently as you sniffle, Okay. After Trevor leaves, you look up at Matthew teary-eyed and say, It's all happening. I know, says Matthew, helping you stand up and walking with you to the door. As you walk down the hall, you muster a weak smile and say, I think I need to have a meltdown by myself, okay? Of course, says Matthew gently. I'll see you at lunch. Okay, you say, ducking into your room and closing the door tightly. Curling up in your bed, you cry yourself to sleep. You sleep through lunch and would have slept through dinner, but a nurse gently wakes you. Even if you're not hungry, sweetheart, you need your work assignment for tomorrow. You nod, sigh, and struggle out of bed. You don't wash your face, brush your hair, or even glance at the mirror. You just stumble down the hall to the cafeteria feeling dazed and more lost than you ever thought possible. If everything Trevor has told you is true, what's next? What will become of you and Matthew? After dinner, an attendant hands you and Matthew the results of your aptitude tests. Both results conclude with Further Testing, Level 4. In a low voice, Matthew says, What do you think this means? Further testing. What was your test like? My test? It was strange. I was supposed to empty my mind and imagine something. Like what? I don't know exactly. There were these letters. TABF. The test said that the letters were the target identifier. Whatever that means. I was supposed to think about the letters, empty my mind, and see what came into my imagination. What about you? What was your test like? Nothing like yours, that's for sure, says Matthew, shaking his head. It said, using quantum mechanics, prove that things are thoughts. Seriously? You say incredulously. What did you write? Lights out in 15 minutes, says a voice over the intercom. I'll tell you tomorrow when we have more time, says Matthew hastily standing up. It's the last chance for me to take a shower. You smile and nod, and as you watch him walk down the hall, you feel eternally grateful that somehow you've managed, under the strangest of circumstances, to find a true friend. You barely know each other, and yet you feel comfortable with him. No matter where you are or what's happening, he makes you feel better. He's a great listener, and he always has something intelligent to say, and he quickly admits anything he doesn't know, and he laughs so easily you can't help but laugh with him. And somehow, even in this strange place, you feel at home with him, as if nothing can go wrong as long as he's here with you. Women only have use of showers in the mornings, so you wash your face, brush your teeth, and go to bed. Every part of you is exhausted, yet somehow your mind just won't shut down. You try jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, and finally end up just pacing around your room. When none of that works, you sit on your bed with your back up against the wall and try deep breathing. You know a bit about meditation, so you practice focusing on your breath moving in and out of your body. Gradually, you feel a bit calmer, and then, without trying, you find yourself somehow floating outside of your body and looking down at yourself from the ceiling. It feels so familiar, as if you had done this before, but that isn't possible. Yet you have a clear memory that you had once floated through the wall and out into the hall. The moment the thought occurs to you, you find yourself doing just that, floating down the hall and into the common room, where you see a woman sitting alone at one of the tables. Come, my dear, no one will hear us talking, says the woman quietly. You look at the nursing station, but no one seems to notice your presence. Are you outside of your body like me? You ask. Things are seldom what they seem, says the woman. The devil is getting closer. In this you have no choice. He has no more power than you. He cannot take your power, but you will give it to him willingly. In fact, you will insist on it. Bright lights awaken you, but this time the dream is clear in your mind. You hurry to the cafeteria to try to talk to each cell, but the woman doesn't show the slightest bit of recognition and seems unwilling or unable to speak. Disappointed but not totally surprised, you get in line for breakfast and find yourself standing behind Admiral Birdie as he struggles with his tray. The attendants are all busy with other patients, so you carry his tray and help him get his coffee, cream no sugar, and then set the tray down in his usual spot. Matthew is nowhere to be seen, so you sit next to him at the table, and the old man mumbles the sequence that you have now practically memorized. Then quite unexpectedly he puts a napkin over his mouth and says quietly, "There's a place you'll be safe. Remember this. -74.85, 16, 16, -102.59, 0, 33, 0. Testing, testing. Don't forget. News. No, 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 not happening. Not real. No, no, no. -74.85, 16, 16, -102.59, 0, 33, 0. You'll be safe. Go to the library." He then looks around cautiously, and underneath the table he hands you something that feels like a rather bulky pocket watch. "Don't look now," he whispers under his napkin. "Don't let anyone know you have this. Watch out for cameras. Keep it with you always. Go to the library." Then he stands up, leaving his coffee and uneaten breakfast, and totters away, muttering, "Minus 74, 0.85, 16, 16, minus 102, 0.59, 0, 33, 0. Matthew never shows up for breakfast, but shows up in the common room just as Trevor arrives. You and Matthew exchange glances, but you don't speak as Trevor motions to you from the doorway to join her. Your ID tags have been programmed to give you clearance for level 4. However, you'll always need to be accompanied by myself or someone else that I appoint. You're both coming with me today. Right this way," she says as you follow her into the hall. Trevor ushers you both to a small electric transport vehicle, one with no doors and enough seating for several people. As you whisk down the hallway, the object Admiral Birdie had given you is burning a hole in your pocket. You are sitting behind Trevor, so you stick your fingertips into your pocket and try to figure out what he could possibly have given you. It seems to be the size and shape of a pocket watch, but much thicker, as if something is contained inside. As you feel the surface, one side is smooth and the other has something inlaid around the outer edge and in the center, and also some type of engraving, but it isn't deep enough for your fingertips to get a sense of what it might look like. All the while you are being automatically scanned as you zip past checkpoints, quietly moving from hallways to stone passageways, and finally into a massive elevator. At level 4, you disembark from your vehicle, your IDs are scanned, and you are both weighed. Then you walk down a wide hallway lined with metallic double doors. Trevor stops at a large, highly polished wooden door and knocks 3 times. "Enter," says a man's voice. Trevor opens the door and says succinctly, "They're here." "Good, I'll be right there." To your surprise, a tall, elegantly dressed man steps through the door. He appears to be in his late 40s with short-cropped, thick, dark hair, light skin, full lips, and striking green eyes. You think he looks more like a model or an actor than a military man. "Hello, Matthew and Amelia. I'm Thomas," he says informally. "Matthew, you're coming with me, and Amelia, you'll go with Trevor." Then Thomas turns to Trevor and says quietly, "Use the Montauk chair for her test." Nodding toward you and Matthew, Trevor says tersely, "Excuse us for just a moment.